A video showing a restaurant making orange juice out of mop sink water in China is going viral right now. Oh, it's turning a lot of stomachs, and it's just a really bad look. But we got to talk about it, man.
You know, when I started 10-year restaurants in Wenzhou as a Wenzhou man, I always wanted it to go viral all across China and maybe even the globe one day. Well, this is not how I wanted it to play out.
Just run the clip.
我们消费者来喝，你别倒，好，你用这个东西现在倒掉了，然后垃圾、自来水，还有你们的黑科技，等一下，你就用这个黑科技，兑自来水给我们喝，我没有，我控制不了我的情绪，你能不能给我们弄点纯净水啊？桶装水也可以，对不对？你既然用自来水给我们喝。
Andrew, there's some debate about whether this clip is that bad. Is it that good? What do you see?
No, it's definitely bad, but I guess the question is how bad. So here's the thing. They're using tap water, not the dirty mop water, but they're using the tap water that's also used to clean the mops.
From the mop sink.
So it's tap water. But tap water in China is not something that you're usually supposed to drink, okay? It's not great. That's why there's a lot of Nongfu water bottles everywhere, and then also he's filling it up with water that's right next to the dirty mops and pans that they sweep stuff with. So it looks ridiculous. I'm not saying he's pouring the dirt into the orange juice, obviously, but I'm just saying it's close to it. And by general hygienic standards, that is absolutely wrong. Now, this is something that I would expect to see maybe from a roadside stall, a super small mom and pop.
Right, you're talking about second, third, fourth tier city. Like, there's a pretty big variance in China.
There is. People using tap water. It is what it is. They're not supposed to, but people are poor. But at a mall, this is a terrible look.
Right. You're saying that these people did not sign up for this. What do you think about him being mad that it was powdered orange juice, too? Because apparently this Tianye restaurant chain in Wenzhou is known for giving out free orange juice to the kids and the teenagers.
Yeah, if it's free, I can imagine that it's powdered. It's definitely not going to be fresh squeezed from oranges.
Yeah, we can afford the 正式的场值.
There's a lot of powdered drinks out there, so I'm not really mad at that. But definitely the hygiene aspect is a bad look. So make sure you're at a mall.
Right. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Andrew, do you think that this guy was probably from a higher class? Obviously, than probably, let's be honest, like the villagers working in the thing, they don't have any food education. They're trying to go around shortcuts. I don't know. Tianye restaurant needs to show me the regular, slower water filtration device that they were like going around, though, to build more consumer confidence.
I mean, I don't fully only blame it on the employees. I think the employees just are working a job and they're probably told to do that because it's free orange juice. So just fill it up with the tap water, I could imagine that obviously American restaurants use tap water for things too, but the tap water in America, generally minus a few cities, is drinkable.
Right.
For the most part,
You mean outside of Flint?
Yeah, outside of Flint, certain cities in Georgia, like you're not
South, they got some infrastructure issues.
There is bad tap water in America, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, how much does this fit on a more macro level? Because obviously this went viral in Wenzhou, viral nationally in China, but it also made it over to the West because it fits in for different reasons. But I guess even in China internally, people are just like, oh man, we finally came up. I have a nice phone, I have a nice car, EV, Neo. But then, man, my kid is drinking like this terrible tap water. And then it obviously goes along with these global suspect questions about Chinese hygiene standards when it comes to food, right?
Or even, I guess, Chinese quality of things, right? I will say this. I think that, let's say, if you think about how many restaurants there are in China, like there's might be, I don't know, 1 million restaurants in China, if not.
Probably more, man.
If not more, right? So I'm saying, let's say 95% of those restaurants are generally okay. Like they're meeting the minimum standard of hygiene, but 5% are not. Let's just say it's 5%. You can argue if it's 8%, if it's 2%, whatever. Let's say it's 5%. 5%
might be higher than 5%.
Maybe it's more than 5%, but 5% of 1 million is a lot. So there is still, so it's just because there's so many more people and so many more restaurants, then we see there is more restaurants doing wrong things and there's more restaurants doing right things, but we're going to see the wrong things.
Right. For sure. I mean, I definitely think it is below first world standards, whether that's, a Japan, America, Scandinavia type standards for sure. But like you said, it might be sort of not a selective bias, but as far as what goes viral, it's almost like let's say, for example, Andrew, let's just take a look at Chinese EV brands, electrical vehicles, right? Let's say there's 100 Chinese EV brands in mainland China right now. Let's just say 60 are whack,
Right.
30 are middle tier, like drivable, but maybe not comparable to like a Western brand or something like that. And then 5 or 10 are competitive with the Teslas, BMWs, Hyundais, Toyotas. You know what I'm saying? So are you going to focus on the 5, like the Neos and the few ones that are really good, BYD, or are you going to focus on the 60 that are just, man, these are like subpar, below the first world?
It depends on who you are. If you're really into electric vehicles, you're going to focus on the good brands and be like, oh man, China's making some great electric vehicles. And then if you don't care about electric vehicles, you're going to be like, China's electric vehicles all suck.
And then is it based off the bulk distribution though? Because let's just say, for example, there's 60 bad brands of EVs. 60 is more than the 5 good ones.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Anyway, let's get into the comments section, Andrew. In China, somebody said, this is vicious and disgusting. It deserves fierce condemnation. The fact that the cost of committing the crime is low and the punishments are too light is the reasons for the myriad of food safety scandals that plague mainland China, Andrew. How true is this?
All right, what do you think is the root of bad hygiene in China? I feel like a lot of it is generally cost. And it's
shortcutting.
Shortcutting for cost.
Yeah, it's shortcutting for cost.
That's why most people would cheat. If it didn't cost so much more to make things super clean, then everybody would just do it.
I think there is a gigantic wealth gap and standards gap between the people eating at a Tianye restaurant in a mall and the people who work there. The people who work there may be from like a far out place. And if you guys know about China, it's almost like the gap between the rural countryside and the city people is way bigger than anything like a Westerner can imagine in terms of the knowledge gap, the standard gap, realistically, right? I also think that hygiene is one of the biggest differentiators of class in America. Maybe like how teeth is in America or something. You know, it's kind of like a luxury thing, right?
Yeah.
Somebody said, yeah, man, it's crazy because Chinese people, they might drink this all day long, unknowingly or knowingly, and then they'll get scared by Japanese seafood. That's kind of funny. Andrew, how much does it have to do with just the tap water not being good there? Because some Americans saw this video and they thought it didn't look that bad.
Yeah, it's because the tap water is not drinkable, so that's the bad part. But yeah, I guess, like I said, I think there's restaurants in America that use tap water for lots of things, to be honest. But the tap water in America, on average, is way better.
But they probably still should not be allowed to use it out of the mop bucket. There should probably be like another
the mop sink. Yeah, not the mop. I mean, it should come from a different source of water. I think it was a horrible look that all the mops and the pans are hung up right next to it. Oh man, that looks so bad.
Somebody said, I would be willing to bet that most things in China would be considered appalling to the more advanced countries around the world. That's why I'm afraid of even Chinese restaurants in the U.S. Plus, I'm not sure if the meats are real meats. Somebody said, you guys, please Google gutter oil.
Dude, in America, it's harder to find fake meat in America than it is real meat. Meat is so plentiful in America.
It's cheap, too, and it's good.
Yeah, the meat quality is way better here, on average at the baseline. So, no, I don't think any Chinese restaurants in America are using fake meat, but definitely in China.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely unfortunate. Like we said,
different economics, man. I can't speak for it.
There is a huge variance in standard between a first-tier city, a tier-0 city. You know what I mean? Tier 2, tier 3, whether people are doing this in the urinals or they're making kanji with food scraps, especially if you go to the more inland places away from the coast. It's really possible. I mean, but this happened on the coast.
Yeah, here's my thing is let's say something bad were to happen at a Starbucks in America, and the customer that the barista spits in a coffee and then stirs it in. It's that would go super viral. And to an outsider from America, you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's happening at Starbucks. But that's not really indicative of Starbucks overall. You know what I'm saying? But I guess the only reason is it kind of calls in question Tianye, this restaurant, and its free orange juice across the board now. Because what if other locations were also using the same tap water? Are they going to go under scrutiny now? Maybe they can't give free orange juice anymore.
Oh my gosh, the whole orange juice industrial complex is being questioned now. Somebody said it's for the added flavor. Duh, they're just making Tang. It's the recipe for Tang. And someone said, yeah, but the U.S. doesn't have all that super fast 5G and high-speed trains, right? This is kind of a funny argument, right? Because sometimes it's funny for this video to go to this level, right?
It's because China is a country full of oxymorons, man. You'll have high-speed trains, extreme technology, surveillance, cameras, drones. You have all this super high-tech stuff, And then you have some people in some far off places using gutter oil for food. There's some people that are like using just this sink water for orange juice. And it's like,
it's a place
wide
of,
range,
it's
man.
almost like a lady, and I'm just to take it out of the negative zone. There's a lady using a Xiaomi Fold 3 or a Vivo Fold 2 folding phone to take your WeChat payment as she sells you like a sweet potato off an oil drum that she roasted it in or something like that. I'm just saying, like, it could be that, like, steampunk almost.
China is a very interesting country.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, let's just get into our takeaways. I'm sure we could go back and forth about this for all the time. I'm pro scrutiny, man. I like that this rich Wenzhou dude went and fought for everybody's rights, and he busted out the powder. He busted out the bin. He was exposing them Tianyi restaurants in a Tianyi.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, he was being a consumer advocate.
Nah, man, he was definitely he was out on a mission, and I think that these type public shaming is good. I think that Tianyi's got to rethink things. I think sends a message to all like big restaurant chains in China. Let's be honest, man. It's true. Like Mr. Beast Burger, even in America, had some really bad mess ups too. Like, and so what I'm trying to say is that when you have a big chain and you have one brand ruling over 1,000 locations, there's no way each location is going to be at the same quality.
Yeah,
It's
below
like
10 out of 10, right?
Nearly
For sure.
impossible. Panda Expresses, this is not a plug, but that's a family-owned business, so their quality is generally on par. But when you have franchises in different cities with different workers, and some workers don't care, or some managers don't care, or some managers are shortcutting because they're responsible for that store's profits, things get ugly, man.
But it's an ugly process even for like people who are just Chinese Americans, right? Because if this video goes viral, then people are not proud to be Chinese, or they're just focusing on the net. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of bad stuff that comes out of there. So it's like, what I'm saying is like, it's just an ugly process, but I think this self-scrutiny and this like citizen policing other citizens, it's necessary. It is what it is.
It's overall
you know,
good.
it's a developing country. It's still behind on its timeline. So it's just gonna be ugly as it like tries to come up in this social media age. I guess what I'm saying. There's gonna be a lot of bad stuff that comes out.
Hey, by the way, this powdered orange juice is actually a product you can buy for like 19 kwai, like this pack of powdered orange juice.
Right.
You know what's funny? In America, they wouldn't sell powdered orange juice. Even if some orange juices, well, actually Tang is powdered orange juice, I guess.
Right.
This is essentially Tang. Interesting.
Like we said, guys, China's a really big country, a lot of good stuff coming out, a lot of medium 50-50 stuff, and a lot of bad stuff. But it just depends on, I guess, the distribution ratios, what makes it to the West, and what you consume. So anyway, guys, let us know what you think of this orange juice incident at Tianyi restaurants in the comment section below. Keep it civil. Until next time, we're the Hot Pot Boys. We out.
Peace.